Hey, welcome back to another episode of HeroTalk, the mostly weekly podcast from Rooter Hero Plumbing and Air. I'm one of the hosts, David. Hi. And with me is
Cat.
And together
We're on the attack.
Right now, we're kind of crammed into a small location, like sardines in a can.
It's fine.
It is fine. It is. Because, we could have set up, the bigger room for this. But, you know what? We didn't, and we're already recording. Path of least resistance here.
It's fine.
So, today is the 5th of July.
Yes.
Which means that yesterday was the 4th of July, a.k.a. America's birthday.
America.
So, what did you do on the 4th of July?
On the 4th of July,
Yesterday,
I worked until 4 p.m.
Okay, alright.
And then I chilled for a bit. And then around 6-ish, I grilled some burgers.
There you go. Now, because everybody takes their burgers differently and they cook their burgers differently. Right? How do you take your burger?
Oh, it has to be well done. Has to be.
Okay.
No pink, David, in my burger. And some mayo. For once I put almost everything on it because I'm usually a plain cheeseburger kind of girl.
Mm-hmm.
But yesterday I put some mayo, some lettuce, tomato, and ketchup and mustard.
Yeah, okay. Alright.
Everything. What about you?
Burgers?
Anything. What did you eat yesterday?
Burritos.
Burritos.
Yep.
What kind of burritos?
Just regular bean, rice, a little bit of cheese in there, some salsa.
Gotta get some cheese.
Yep. Because I can't think of anything more American than a burrito. And I mean that.
What about hot dogs?
Yeah, okay. I could have put hot dogs in there too. Then it would have been a bean and hot dog burrito.
I'm so glad you didn't.
At that point, I think it would just be a wrap.
True.
I'm going to try that. Because beans and franks, it's a meal for kings. A meal for kings who don't have much money. Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that.
I feel great about it.
We'll test it out.
Yeah. But as far as burgers are concerned, which I could have, but I went to the store yesterday morning.
Everything's gone.
Yeah, all the burger meat was gone. And I was like, I could have settled for Impossible or Beyond, because that stuff was all in stock. Not even one was missing.
With reason.
Maybe. But I was like, no. I'll just use what I have at home.
Have you, tried the Beyond Meat or the Impossible Meat, and are you a fan?
At Burger King. And, no. Whoever said that they tasted like regular hamburgers either has not had a regular hamburger in years, or they were lying.
Yeah, I can't even.
No, that's not to disrespect any vegetarians or vegans. Because you know what? I was vegan for a long time myself, and I get it. But there are only a few brands out there that make good mock meat. And it doesn't taste like meat. It just tastes good in its own right. It's hard to do. Most companies fail.
Yeah.
Yeah. But how I take my burger, because I just want to get this out of the way. She likes hers well done. That's disgusting.
That's insane.
That's disgusting.
It literally has to be well done.
How do you take your steak?
Medium well.
Medium well.
Or
okay.
medium.
So overcooked.
Probably. I went to a steakhouse not that long ago, and they gave me something called medium plus because he did not want to give me medium well.
That's a smart guy.
But I think that was just medium, and he was like...
Yeah. So...
he was like, what's a medium plus for you?
For steaks and burgers, the most I'll go is medium rare. The most.
How does the blood not disgust you?
Because there's no blood in it. The blood gets drained out. It's
No,
not blood.
it's blood.
It's not. It's protein juice, basically.
If it's pinkish,
Not blood.
seeing that makes me want to go vegan. But I can't. I like chicken too much.
Okay, Google. Okay, Google. What is the pink stuff in grocery store meat?
According to Wikipedia, pink slime is a meat
That's not what I
byproduct used
asked.
as a food additive to ground beef and beef-based processed meats, as a filler, or to reduce the overall fat content of ground beef.
Speaking of pink slime,
Is there blood in meat that you cook?
According to Cathead's Barbecue, that red liquid leaking from your meat is nothing but protein called myoglobin. It binds iron and oxygen. It's not blood. The myth is now debunked.
wow. Well, maybe now I look at it different.
Pink
That is-
slime.
Have you heard, speaking of pink slime, have you heard that they want to create lab-grown meat?
Yeah, it got
It got approved.
yeah. No.
Yeah.
You will eat the bugs. You will eat the lab meat. You will live in a shoebox, and you will be happy. Oh, that's a completely different podcast.
Absolutely not. All right, but speaking of podcasts, what are we going
yeah.
to talk about today?
Oh yeah, that. Forgot why we were here. Okay, that's fine. You know what?
That's
That's fine. That's fine. Today I wanted to talk about something that, I'm a fan of. And I think some of you out there might be as well. But maybe you haven't heard it put this way. Okay, so for a lot of my life, I played video games,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because that's what you do.
Yeah.
And some people, that's their career. And that's
lucky them.
that's amazing. So I wouldn't want to do it full time. But
You would or you wouldn't?
I honestly, I'm not that good.
Oh.
So I wouldn't be able to make a career out of it.
But say you could. Would
No, possibly, probably, if I really liked the game.
you? Got it.
But there's this thing called min-maxing. So I had to pause there for a second because I'm drinking Diet Coke. So min-maxing is when you minimize your weaknesses, maximize your strengths.
Yes.
Right. So we're going to talk about that because it's important. And
Min-maxing.
yeah, and you can do it in video games, especially like role-playing games, where you have stats and you can assign points to stats and different ability trees and everything else. The thing is, you can do that in real life too, right?
Got it.
So, yeah. So let's see what Google says about definition of min-maxing. Yeah, exactly what I just said.
Oh, I'm
Fantastic.
looking at that equation over
Oh,
there.
look at this.
Oh, look at
So-
that.
Oh yeah, I have ChatGPT linked to my Google search. So,
Oh.
min-maxing is a strategy commonly used in gaming, specifically in role-playing games, to optimize character attributes and abilities. The term min-maxing is derived from the words minimize and maximize, in case you were confused.
Just in case.
In this strategy, players aim to minimize certain weaker traits of their character to more resources to maximize stronger traits. This involves carefully selecting and allocating skill points, equipment, and other resources to enhance the character's strength and mitigate weaknesses. The goal of it is to create a highly specialized and efficient character that can excel in specific areas of gameplay by sacrificing some versatility or overall balance. These optimized characters can often outperform others in certain situations or tasks. So, however, while min-maxing can offer advantages in terms of power and effectiveness, it can also lead to a loss of immersion or role-playing experience if you go, like
directly by route.
yeah, if you, I can't say, if you, yeah. So, use
If
your
you play to
imagination.
people's strengths and weaknesses.
Yes. So, then, in real life, right, you
Yeah.
want to do this. So,
How can we apply the gaming world to real life?
well, life is a game. That's not to trivialize life. But a lot of the same concepts are there, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can level up. You can improve, right? You can improve your skill set. You can hyper focus on just a few skills and use that and become a specialist, right?
True.
So, now there's a few ways to do this. And the first one is to define your priorities. And you can define your priorities. The first thing you got to do is look at what you want your end game to be like, right? So, in a lot of video games, there's a place called the end game,
Mm-hmm.
which is the end of the game,
Yeah,
right?
the goal.
That's where like the main boss is and the main villain, and you know, the ending of the game. You beat the game. Now, what do you want your end game to look like
In life.
in life? So, with that, you have to visualize what you want it to look like. And this is like when you're 65 plus,
Yeah.
right?
Like once you're done working, like your
Yeah.
retirement type thing.
Yeah. And once you visualize that, once you know what you want it to look like, you can work your way backwards. So, which is honestly a very, very good plan and strategy to do.
To work
Right.
backwards.
To work backwards. Like, even if you're not even doing an end game thing, but you're doing like a 5-year plan, right? What do you want at the end of the 5 years to look like? And then you can break it down, working backwards to what the year targets are, the month targets, the weekly targets, the daily targets. And then all you have to do after that is once you get that in, all you have to do is start checking boxes.
Yeah.
So, and it's a lot easier said than done.
True.
So, and a lot of refinement goes in. You have to test. You have to pivot sometimes, right? Because life is chaotic. It's
Stuff
not.
happens.
Yeah, it's not a literal game, right? Where everything's pre-programmed, right? You're gonna have to work around things, but you have to do that in video games too. Like, let's say a patch comes out, or a new DLC, or downloadable content. If you don't know what these terms mean, that changes a fundamental part of the gameplay, right? That can happen in real life. You can lose your job, get a divorce, right? Lose a loved one, lose your car for whatever thing, right?
Yeah.
These are hurdles and obstacles that you have to navigate while still heading towards the ultimate end game or the ultimate goal.
Cool.
So there's that. Once you define your priorities, once you define your end game, you have to assess your own strengths and weaknesses. Now, this, for a lot of people, is very hard to do,
Yeah.
right? Especially the weaknesses part. Because we are human. We have egos. We don't like to think we're bad at stuff,
True.
even if it's glaringly obvious to other people what we're bad at. So, the best way of discovering your weaknesses is asking people that know you. The people that know you that will tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Because a lot of friends, a lot of family, well, they won't let you know what you're bad at. They'll tell you what you're good at,
Mm-hmm.
right? All day long. But those family members, the people that really love you and the people that are really there for you, they don't like talking about your weaknesses. Unless you find that special unicorn that will be like, yeah, well, you really suck at this.
They'll maybe say it in a nicer way, though.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Unless they're cool.
No. Unless they're a unicorn.
Yeah. And then, you know those people that like, well, I just tell the truth. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. See, the thing is, people say that. Oh, I'm just blunt. That's code for they're a jerk.
No.
It just is.
Yeah.
So, assess your strengths and weaknesses. So, perform an honest evaluation, and it has to be honest. You can't lie to yourself.
Yeah.
If you lie to yourself on this, or you exaggerate, or you gloss over things, you're doing yourself a disservice, and this is not going to work. All right? You have to perform an honest evaluation of strengths and weaknesses in relation to your goals. In business, this might involve identifying your core competencies, like what are you really, really good at in business, and leveraging them to gain whatever competitive edge there is, right? Personal life might mean recognizing areas where you excel and finding ways to capitalize on those strengths. You have to understand your limitations, you have to understand your weaknesses, and you have to make informed decisions about where to invest your effort and where to seek support or improvement on them. There are some weaknesses there that maybe you shouldn't even spend any time on. Right?
Yeah, like there's some that you can obviously like navigate with them, and then there's some where if you acknowledge that they're there, sometimes they're an easy fix, but it's just you don't even know that you do this certain habit or live this certain lifestyle, but it's like it could be really easy if it's pointed out to you, or it could be really hard. It just depends what what that weakness is.
No, 100%. So the next step on this is once you've created your plan for the end game and you've sorted out what your weaknesses and what your strengths are, this is when you begin to seek out what you want to specialize in. Right? Now, there are people out there that will say being a generalist is better than being a specialist. Being a generalist is good. It's good. But there's an old saying that if you're a jack of all trades, you're a master at none. So, being a generalist helps in the early stages of your career.
Yeah.
Being a specialist is what's going to launch your career into the stratosphere, right? Good analogy on that, and I'm ripping this straight off of Mitch Hedberg, is you know how a lot of the times stand-up comics, right? They'll start acting in like sitcoms and movies and stuff, and that's weird because they're really good at comedy, right?
Yeah.
But who's to say they're good at acting?
True.
So it's like taking a chef, right? A really, really good chef, and being like, hey, you're a good chef. I really enjoy your food. Do you know how to farm? That's straight from Mitch Hedberg. He's cool. He's dead. But a lot of people are. So, yeah. And then to tie that back in to video games and...
Let's tie that back in.
Yeah. And gaming, right? In role-playing games, like let's say World of Warcraft, Dungeons and Dragons, Dragon Age, anything like that. There are most of the tougher challenges are done with a group of people. And this group of people each have their own specialization. Right? You have the people that can do massive amounts of damage, right? That's their strength. Their weakness is they can take like 3 hits and then they're dead. Right? Then you have the people who can heal, right? And that's cool. They can heal. But also, they can take like 2 or 3 hits before they're dead. Then you have the people who don't do much damage. They can't heal, but they can take a lot of damage. And they can keep the enemy's focus on themselves, right? Which allows that healer to heal and that damage dealer to deal massive amounts of damage without being hit, right?
Like the front line.
Exactly. So, and in those terms, the guy that can take a lot of hits is called a tank, and then DPS or damage per second for damage, and then healer for healer. They never came up with anything cool for that. right? And then, it's so there's specialties. And these roles are never the same person, right? Because that would be not fun for the other people, right? But also, it's so that they can focus on one exact thing, the thing that they're good at, the thing that they're built for,
Yeah.
that they've been working towards.
That they specialize in.
Exactly.
Got
So, so in games, people specialize in specific skills or abilities to maximize their effectiveness, right? In business and in life, it's essential to recognize when to specialize and then when to delegate, right? And you have to delegate things that fall outside of your expertise, outside of the things you're good at.
Yeah.
In the example I said, yeah, that tank can take tons of damage, but that enemy's not going down because they can't have enough output of damage to kill that thing, right?
Yeah.
So if they focus and if you focus on your core skills and delegate everything else, everything will be a lot better, right? It allows you to allocate and invest time and energy to areas where you excel, right? And then, because in a lot of video games, most actually, you level up, right? You gain a certain amount of experience, and you can level up and then apply points or things to different skills, abilities, to make yourself better, right? This works in real life too, and I think we've done plenty of episodes on that.
Yeah.
Right. But this is a recap, right? So, min-maxing in games often, most of the time, requires research, experimentation, and staying updated on the latest strategies. There's always a new guide or a new walkthrough coming out saying, hey, this is the best build for this kind of character, right? You want to apply these things in this order to get this end result. The same thing can be done in your personal life, right? So it's all about having a growth mindset, about continuously improving yourself.
And continuously learning.
Yeah.
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 We have talked about that.
Yeah.
In podcasts
Yeah.
before.
And it's one of those things that bears repeating because it's so important. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't do that, right? There was a stat that came out that like only a very, very small percentage of people learn a new skill that's outside of their work, right? People will learn skills if it directly benefits what they're doing for work, right? And usually that's trained or taught at work.
At work, yeah.
As opposed to, well, if I learned how to do this, it would probably improve this, and it would improve this, and it would make me better at work. That's how I'm going to spend my Thursday night, right? So, it is what it is, as they say.
Yeah.
So, but you have to be continuously improving yourself. It's, if you could, investing in yourself has the best ROI or return on investment than anything else.
True.
So, and then there's like, a lot of people say like invest 7 to 10% of your income into developing yourself, right?
Okay.
See, in 2023, you don't got to spend nothing. All right? So, you don't got to spend money to improve yourself. There's so many podcasts, so many YouTube videos, so many books. I guess books cost money if you don't know where to go. So, that you could use to improve yourself.
Very true.
If you only get like one thing out of each, that's still one thing you didn't have before.
Exactly.
So, now, the next one is balance and well-being. Now, if you've listened to previous episodes, I don't believe in balance. So,
I believe in balance.
all right. So, you can go too hard on this. So,
That's true.
which is bad. So, let's see. Now,
I actually liked the conclusion from the first one that we were just going over. I think it was that one, right?
This one?
Was that the very first one?
I think so.
Yeah, that one. Was it that one? I
I
don't know.
don't know. Let's see.
Oh no. So,
Yeah, it must have been.
Okay. It
Alright.
just like reiterates everything.
Yeah. Yeah. So, there's a couple of things that I also want to cover on this. And I'm just going to go really fast through them, right? So, now, to utilize this in your everyday life, right, you have to, once again, visualize what you want the end game to look like, right? Then you have to work your way backwards from it, right? You have to specialize in skills, right, and delegate or eliminate everything else. I'm gonna talk about that in a second. There are 6 things that you need to do, that you need to have, that you need to practice to this, and I'm just gonna gloss over them. The first one is unwavering focus. How do you get unwavering focus? You focus on the end game. Period. You have to know what the end game looks like. Nothing starts until you have that in mind,
Yeah.
right? So, now, there's a song by Pat the Bunny or Shackle Glory, same person, um, that says, if freedom means doing whatever I want, doesn't it mean that I want to want something? So, you have to want something.
And figure out what you want.
Yeah. You have to know what your goal is. Because you're not free until you know what it is that you're free to want. So, yeah. So, focus on that. The next one, capitalize on strengths, crush weaknesses. So, the next one is relentless specialization. Generalists are average, specialists dominate. Again, at the beginning of your career, generalize until you find something that you're really, really good at.
And you can excel in it.
Yeah. Next one is delegate to elevate. You have to learn how to delegate. Delegation is hard, especially if you have an ego, but it's necessary.
Especially if you're like, I'll just do it myself.
Exactly. And then you could have been doing something else that would have pushed yourself or your business forward, right?
Yeah.
So, be incredibly growth minded. There shouldn't be a day that goes by where you're not at least improving yourself a little bit, right? And even if that's like when you're on vacation, right? That doesn't mean not take vacation, doesn't mean not take days off. In fact, days off and vacations can help you recharge
Yeah.
so that when you get back from that, you can tackle things head on. So, and then dominate, maintain balance. So, you want to do both. Now, there's another thing that I wanted to talk about, and that is deal. DEAL. All right. So, this comes from the 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. Right? So, deal means. Hold on. I have so much written down.
Oh, it was right there.
Yep. Okay, so deal. D stands for definition. Right? We've already talked about this. This is defining your end game. What does success mean to you?
Mm-hmm.
Right? That doesn't have to be financial abundance, right? It could mean living in a cabin in the woods with your spouse, right? In your days.
Is that your end game?
I'd have to get back to you on that. Because it's not just my decision, is it?
True.
So, but you have to define what success means, what the end game is. Again, I keep repeating that because it's so damn important.
Mm-hmm.
So the next one is E, elimination. This is, you have to get rid of the distractions and the time wasting activities that hold you back, right? This is a hard one.
It's really,
Right.
yeah, that's,
So I think we did an episode about the Pareto principle or the 80-20 rule.
yeah, we did.
So that would be a good practice to get this down, right?
The 80-20 rule.
Yeah. So the A is for automation. So automate what you can. The things that you need to be done, the simple things that need to be done on a daily basis, you most likely can automate a lot of that, right?
Yeah.
And now more than ever, there is more ways to automate your life and the tasks that you have to do on a daily basis than ever before, and it's only getting better. So ways to automate would be like using project management software like monday.com or anything like that. That one's the one that sticks with me
Yeah.
because I've seen a million ads.
Or even just like writing stuff
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
Like
So
just seeing it
yeah.
in front of you.
Yeah. So, setting up autoresponders to your email, um, delegating. It's not really automating, but it still works. And then L is for liberation. This is the ultimate goal of min-maxing and Tim Ferriss's deal thing. It's
Framework.
yeah, thing. I like words like that. It's about liberating yourself from the constraints of traditional work and creating a lifestyle that aligns with your goals and values. So, which is the entire concept of the 4-hour work week, right? And it's what min-maxing your life will do. Because you're going to be so good, so strong at things, and so streamlined
Yeah.
that you're going to have to come up with things to do. So, yeah. So, that's min-maxing. It's hard to do. It's hard to stay focused on it. Mostly because people don't know what they want their life to look like. Most people are going day by day,
Yeah.
paycheck to paycheck, fad to fad, right? And they're not 100% focused on the end. And that, again, doesn't have to be the end of your life, right?
Yeah. It could just be like you said, 5 years from now.
Yeah. So, my suggestion would be start with a year goal and follow the same steps.
And I was gonna bring that up because I liked our New Year's podcast
Mhm.
with like our New Year's resolutions.
Yep.
Because that gives you something to look forward to, or at least it gave
Yeah.
me something to look forward to. Like I came here today and I was like, hey, I got a new book.
Hey,
Like,
yeah, no,
and
no.
like
I love it.
last year I never would
I
have
know.
read,
I know.
but you taught me.
Yeah, you gotta read.
And I mean, I started a little late, like, and so we're 7 months into the year, and I'm on
Yeah.
book 2, but my goal, I think, was 3 books, or
Okay.
3 or
Yeah, you
5,
got
or something
time.
like that.
You got
Yeah.
time. So a late start is better than a non-start.
Yeah.
So,
And so I think, like you said, starting with a year goal,
mhm.
and then working your way backwards, or
Yeah.
then moving on to the 5-year goal, and then,
Mhm.
stuff like that. I think it's really helpful.
So, and I'm like actually really, really kind of passionate about this too. This entire topic, and not just because I was a gamer, right? Not just because I played World of Warcraft. Although I do credit World of Warcraft to like being able to make the entire call center department be viable remote. So
Yeah.
because it was just like, oh, this is just running a guild in World of Warcraft. It's gonna be easy,
Yeah.
and it was. So I was like, oh, okay, yeah, go home. They're fine.
Yeah.
Just check in.
Just check in. As long as they're doing the work.
Exactly. That's what counts. That's the only thing that counts. Location doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Results mean everything. So that's min-maxing. Honestly, we could be here all day talking about it, or at least I could.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that can be done with it, and this is scratching the surface on it, right? Probably over the next couple of weeks, unless I lose all interest in it in the next hour, which I've been known to do. Sucks. But I'll be posting more on LinkedIn about it too.
Okay.
So, yeah. So, do you want to talk about the fee?
The fee, you gotta pay the fee, guys. If you got anything from this podcast, a smile, a lesson, even if you hated it, still go ahead and give it a thumbs up.
Just lie to yourself.
Give it a thumbs up. Go ahead and share with family or friends, and leave a comment.
Yeah.
Tell us what you think. Tell us if you believe in min-maxing.
Yeah. And buy my book.
And The Blue Collar Call Center by David Powers.
Yeah. So, that's it. We should do a HeroTalk book. Okay.
Next time.
Okay.
Bye.
All right, bye.